Dana, I guess when you look at your career, I mean, when you think back to your first year, I think that was a Final Four season. I mean, did you think it would be the kind of career that you'd have, especially here lately?
Well, this is something that I definitely envisioned, and I talked to my parents. I've talked to Coach Walls about it when I first stepped foot on campus, that I had a lot of goals that I wanted to accomplish and a lot of things that I wanted to get done here. And I've pretty much done everything that I could have dreamed about, worked for, except for one thing, and that's obviously winning the national championship.
Dana Calgill from WLKY. When you decided to come back, you were obviously fueled by what happened last year. Has it been worth it coming back? What has this year been like for you? And frankly, you're hitting the home stretch. What's that going to be like, and what are you driving for still?
It has definitely been what I envisioned it to be. We've been ranked number one, something that hasn't been done here in school history. We're like 18-1 now. We're starting to click. We're starting to figure things out. We have a solid team. It's a lot of that. Is that me?
Everybody, just a reminder to please stay on mute. I think we're getting some feedback. All right, try again, Dana.
Okay, well, yeah, this year is everything that I wanted it to be. Being ranked number one and first time in school history is something that I've looked forward to. We've been having a lot of success. A lot of things have been going the way that I planned for it to go. So I'm really happy and excited that I come back because we have unfinished business to do. But yeah, this is what I've expected.
Hey, Dana, Cameron with the Courier Journal. You've played, so many different roles for this program, from coming off the bench, starter, and then a leader of this group. Do you feel like being able to play so many different roles has helped in your evolution over these last 4 years?
Playing a lot of different roles has definitely helped me on the mental side of the game as well as physical. It's helped me improve my game in so many different ways, whether that was my IQ, whether that was my three, my defense, getting my teammates involved, and just figuring things out in my game that I see that I can work on, pointing out my weaknesses, and just trying to perfect everything that I can. I have a great coaching staff that stays on me, and they never let me settle.
Dana, do you expect to be emotional tomorrow night? And if so, how does that play with your makeup and your eyelashes?
Well, I don't expect to be emotional, but I'm pretty sure it might happen once I see my parents and everybody else. But hopefully I'm able to not get emotional, but I'm looking forward to it.
Now, what about the eyelashes? If you start crying, are they going to get screwed up?
No, they'll be fine. They'll be all right.
Okay.
Dana, when you were a freshman, I think Maisha was a senior, Asia was still around. You saw the fanfare and what Maisha did to end her career. Then you watched Dana. I know you always thought you wanted to be a part of that and be like that, kind of in that legacy, but could you have ever dreamed that your career would be kind of going in your senior year like theirs did?
Yes, I did. I talked to Maisha. I talked to Asia a lot, and I just got a lot of feedback and advice from them, how to get better. What did they do? And just I learned from them. When they were here, I watched how they trained. I watched how they went about games, how they approached certain things, different aspects. And I just tried to put everything in my game that I could and take away from them, because they're obviously two great players. So this is definitely what I imagined and dreamed for.
Dana, I guess along that line, when you think about who you followed and some of the attention that you've gotten as a national player of the year this year, I mean, could you have imagined that? And how, in a sense, did following behind them kind of prepare you for the attention?
Well, they prepared me just basically by me just watching a lot. I watched how they handled interviews. I watched how they talked to people. I watched how they approached games. And I just, like I said, I just tried to put that in my game and see how I can use that to help me grow as a person and a player on and off the court. So yeah, I just fed off of them and learned the way they taught me the way and helped me in a lot of different ways.
Do you think about that, or do you just the talk about player of the year? Or do you just kind of let that roll off and just let it unfold naturally?
Well, I leave that to God. I know He has a plan for me, and whatever He think is the best for me, I'm sure that's what'll happen. So obviously, that's something that I would love to accomplish. That's not something that I think about, though. I just let my game do the talking pretty much for me.
Dana, this is Kent Taylor from Wave TV. The mindset at the end of a game when you all have to have a basket, to be able to deliver in that moment. Is that something that you've developed, or do you just have it? I mean, I go back to Virginia Tech or Wake Forest, games like that.
Well, I would say it's just my mental has helped me so much. Talking with Vanessa a lot has definitely helped me with things like that, a lot of different aspects. Because I would say each one of those games, I went through a phase where I wasn't making shots. I want to say at Virginia Tech, I didn't make 1 3, but I stayed focused and I stayed true to myself, and I just knew that it will come. So just being patient and just staying calm and relaxed, I think has helped me a ton within late game situations and just go. I feel like I just play. I don't think how I used to think. I don't have to overthink anything. I just let my game just go.
Is it kind of like not being afraid of the moment?
No, I embrace it. I love that. That's something that I obviously get excited for late game and knowing that the ball will be in my hands and just knowing that my teammates count on me. So I just love to be able to deliver for them.
Dana, how do you think your game has evolved the most since you first stepped foot on campus? I mean, technically, what do you do better? What parts of your game have you tried to improve the most?
Well, I tried to improve a lot each year. I took a different approach. My freshman year, I probably made, I want to say 7 threes that whole year. That's something that I knew in order for me to be successful, I needed to get a lot better at my 3-point shot and my percentage. I want to say my sophomore year, it stepped up a lot. I stepped up a lot, making threes and doing different things for the team. But then my sophomore year, I also realized that I needed to work on the mental part of the game. That's when I began to talk to Vanessa a lot. She helped me with thinking next play and don't dwell on things that happen, because my freshman and sophomore year, I would let things just dwell on me. I would think about things from a couple games ago and let that determine and dictate the future games. My junior year, I worked on a lot of watching film with Purcell, understanding the game, being a point guard. My IQ has grown a lot, and things like that. And this senior year, going into my senior year, I knew I needed to put in a lot of work with finishing around the rim with contact. The game is really physical at the next level as well. So I knew I needed to get stronger. I knew I needed to work on different finishes, floaters. My mid-range game had to improve because I'm going to be going against people that's about 6'5" every night. So that's something that I knew that I had to get better at, and just continue to work on my 3-point shot. You can never get comfortable with that. So I continue to work on that, and just my ball handling and my IQ is something that I've still been working on as well.
Hey, Dana, kind of a follow-up to the mental side of your game growing, and hang with me here. I talked to Beth Burns yesterday, and she had mentioned what she kind of termed as your alter ego, Deirdre, would come out your freshman sophomore year. Do you remember that? And kind of I imagine Deirdre's kind of gone now.
Yeah, she's gone. She's not coming back. But yes, that was when I was still young and I thought I had all the answers. I thought I knew everything. I didn't think I needed to talk to a sports psychologist, but I did. And it helped me in a lot of different ways that I can't even imagine. It's even helped me off the court. Just not letting things get to me and just being able to brush things off and move forward. So that's definitely helped me, because my freshman and sophomore year, I was stubborn. Like I said, I just thought I knew everything. And then I one day just swallowed my pride and went and talked to Vanessa, and that was a game changer for me.
So getting Deirdre sent back helped a little bit.
Yes. Yeah. It did.
How do you,
Those first 2 years, you could have gone somewhere and started playing a lot more right away. You were good enough already. Do you think this development would have happened if you hadn't had to play behind some other people like it did here? Did you kind of feel like that was part of the way it worked out the way it did?
Yes, I think like I said, God had a plan for me. My journey wasn't easy. My path here wasn't easy. A lot of people would have gave up. A lot of people would have transferred and went somewhere else where they were a starter or the star on the team. But my parents, they raised me different. They wouldn't allow me to just quit. So, sorry. Sorry.
Take your time.
Yeah, so my parents are my biggest blessings because there were a lot of times when I wanted to give up. I wanted to go somewhere else. I just wanted something else. I didn't think this was the place for me. But I'm so grateful that my parents, they made me stick it out and they made me figure it out on my own.
Have they always been kind of, they've always, I guess, kind of worked to kind of put that side of you in order, even back before you came to Louisville, I guess? Can you remember things they said and did all through, your coming up?
Yes, my parents were always hard on me, but they also showed how much they loved me and that they only wanted the best for me. So just having them in my corner has helped me because, like I said, a lot of people would have gave up. They wouldn't have been able to handle how Coach Walls coached them because he's a tough coach, but he wants the best for you and he wants to see you be successful. And he always tells me one of his happiest days is going to be the day I get drafted because he knew the time that I put in and all the hard work that went into it.
Yeah, you were talking about the mental part of it and seeing the sports psychologist. How do you go about getting to the mindset where you can put things behind you easily, quickly? I mean, is there a drill that you do or some kind of process that you've gone through that makes you better able to do that?
Well, me and Vanessa, we used to meet on a weekly basis my freshman and sophomore year, and we would just talk about different ways to be able to think about the next play, or I would write down some things that I wanted to forget. So I would write it down so I don't have to think about it anymore. Or we would just talk about other professional athletes, how they go about things and how they're able to regroup. And the biggest thing that I took away from her is taking a deep breath and being able to regroup during a timeout, or if something's not going my way, I can just woosah, take you a deep breath and just let it go because you can't get that play back. You can't get anything back that happened in the past. So I just always, sometimes I write it on my shoe. If whenever I look down, I see next play. So then I just think, okay, just what can you do now? What can you fix now? And don't dwell on what you can't control because you can't control the past.
Dana, along that line, where did Vanessa and your parents, kind of help you when the pandemic kicked in and your season is cut off and then you're not even sure whether you're going to have a season, and particularly with the isolation last summer?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's when I just took everything up with God. I just dove into my Bible even more and just tried to figure out how to just understand that everything happens for a reason. And sometimes we don't understand what God is doing or why he's doing the thing he's doing, but that's why you have to trust him. And that's why you have to believe in that he has everybody's best interest in heart and he has a plan for everyone. So you can't question what he do or how he go about things. You just have to trust it.
Anything, you got time for a couple more for Dana, if anybody has anything.
Dana, with the schedule changes, this year, not just with some of the postponements, but you didn't get a chance to face Ryan Howard over at Kentucky, and I mean, you two have been mentioned as Player of the Year candidates, and as well as being preseason All-Americans. Is there any kind of regret in not having that kind of matchup, especially since you have faced a lot of the best players in the country, and some of that's been kind of muted this season?
Yes, I do wish that we were able to play each other again, because she's a really talented player and Kentucky has a talented team. So that would have been exciting, even for our freshmen, to understand the rivalry and how fun it was just to play in front of their fans and our fans, because it was always a fun game and it was always a good game. So I do regret that, but who knows? We may be able to see him in a tournament or whatever, because you never know nowadays.
Hey, Dan, this is Cameron from the Courier Journal again. I kind of want to go back to you talking to Vanessa Shannon, and a lot of people find talking to people about mental health can be kind of there's a stigma around it, especially for athletes. How did you get to that point, and is that something that you would recommend to teammates or other athletes who are kind of trying to get on the same journey that you're going on?
Oh, yes, I definitely recommend it, because it's helped me in so many different ways. Like I mentioned before, it's a game changer. It changes how you go about things. It even changes how you go about your day. So I kind of mention it to my freshmen, and I always tell them, like, I understand why you think or why people say you shouldn't do it, but it's not about what other people think. It's your career, and it's how you want to approach things. So you have to swallow your pride, and you just have to do what's best for you, because even professional athletes talk to people like Vanessa. So it's nothing wrong with that. It's just something that can help increase and enhance your game. So why not take advantage of it?
Anything else for Dana?
I had one.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, Dana. You mentioned earlier, Coach Walls is really looking forward to the day you get drafted, and it'll be the happiest day and all that stuff. I'm wondering sort of how much you're looking forward to getting drafted, considering this journey that you've been on in college, and sort of what type of player and assets you think you offer best to a WNBA team.
I'm definitely looking forward to that day. That's something that I've dreamed about since I started playing this game. So that would be a really exciting day for me. But something that I think I can bring to a WNBA team is just my will to win, my will to do whatever it takes to get the W with the team, my defense, me just getting after it on the floor, just getting it done. I feel like whatever the team needs me to do, I'm ready for it, and I'll do it.
All right, Dana. Well,
sorry for breaking
thanks,
it down,
everybody.
y'all. I appreciate it.
Hey Dana, don't worry about it. Now we know if you do get emotional tomorrow night, everything holds up.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. We'll